Hey everyone, Morgan here. So I'm going to be doing a series of videos that's talking about the most likely disasters for us to be prepared for and how to prepare for them. In this first episode, I'm going to talk about an economic collapse, what would happen and how we can prepare for it. An economic collapse may seem pretty outrageous to a lot of people because what would happen is you would lose access to credit. Banks would close. Demand would outstrip supply of food, gas, and other necessities. If the collapse affected local governments and utilities, then water and electricity would no longer be available. As people panic, they would revert to survival and self-defense modes. The economy would return to a traditional economy where those who grow food barter for other services. A U.S. economic collapse would create global panic. Demand for the dollar and U.S. treasuries would plummet. Interest rates would skyrocket. Investors would rush to other currencies, such as the yuan, euro, and even gold. It would create not just inflation, but hyperinflation as the dollar becomes dirt cheap. So again, you may be thinking that this is pretty outrageous, but actually in 2008, we became pretty close to an economic collapse. On September 17th, the Reserve Primary Fund broke the buck. Panicked investors withdrew a record $140 billion from money market accounts where businesses kept cash to fund day-to-day operations. If withdrawals had gone on for even a week, the entire economy would have halted. That meant trucks would stop rolling, grocery stores would run out of food, and businesses would shut down. That is how close the U.S. economy came to a real collapse and how vulnerable it is to another one. And you may be thinking, well, 2008, that was a long time ago. Well, it could happen at really any time. How close are we to an economic collapse as of 2019? If the U.S. dollar rapidly loses value, it could create hyperinflation. A bank run could force banks to close or even go out of business, cutting off lending and even cash withdrawals. The internet could become paralyzed with a supervirus, preventing emails and online transactions. Terrorist attacks or a massive oil embargo could halt interstate trucking. Grocery stores would soon run out of food. Widespread violence would erupt across the nation. In March 2019, the Federal Reserve warned that climate change could threaten the financial system. Extreme weather caused by climate change is forcing farms, utilities, and other companies to declare bankruptcy. Natural disasters could cause a localized collapse. If Hurricane Irma had hit Miami, its damage would have been worse than Hurricane Katrina. In fact, natural disasters are creating an extreme strain on our overall economy. Some believe the Federal Reserve, the president, or an international conspiracy are driving the United States toward economic ruin. If that's the case, the economy would collapse in as little as a week. Will the U.S. economy collapse? The U.S. economy's size makes it resilient. It is highly unlikely that even these events could create a collapse. When necessary, the government can act quickly to avoid a total collapse. But, as we all know, we don't really want to rely on the government to act. We need to act. So how exactly can we prepare for an economic collapse? Make sure you understand the basic economic concepts so you can see warning signs of instability. One of the first signs of an economic collapse is a stock market crash. If it's bad enough, a market crash can cause a recession. Keep as many assets as liquid as possible so that you can withdraw them within a week. Okay, so you don't have assets lying around. Plus, you want to keep as much cash on hand as total possible. However, in a total economic collapse, because of its value might be decimated, however, you still want to keep cash around. Stockpiles of gold and silver and things may actually become more valuable in a collapse. It's still a good idea to keep cash around, though. In addition to your regular job, make sure you have skills that would translate over into a traditional economy, such as farming and cooking and repairing, all those types of things that we've talked about in past videos. That would make you a valuable asset to the whole community in the U.S. Make sure you keep yourself in top physical shape, because once you start doing these farming and cooking and repairing, you're going to be using a lot more of your physical and mental strength, okay? You need to not just be in physical shape, you need to be in top mental shape as well. You need to be able to know how to process the situation and move forward with it as quickly as possible. If your mind is not prepared and your body's not prepared, you can have all the stuff in the world, but you're not going to be prepared. And then, you should know some basic survival skills, foraging, self-defense, hunting, how to start a fire, all these basic survival skills that we talk about all the time. In general, having more skills will come in handy during an economic collapse. I hope that this has been informative. As we all know, we do not want to rely on the government for fixing our problems and for preparing us and for being there for us. So we have to make sure that we're there for ourselves. But we do need to watch for the signs of an economic collapse. Keep a close eye on our economy. Keep a close eye on the inflation and hyperinflation, our stock markets, what businesses are doing, what the government are doing, okay? Keep a close eye on what is happening. Overall, intelligence, listening and reading intel is going to be our greatest asset to be prepared for not just an economic collapse, but any emergency or disaster. Thank you all so much for watching. Let me know your comments in the section below. Conquer tomorrow by preparing today. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.